Good evening. Oh, good evening. Okay, now we're ready. Friends, staff, faculty members, our honorees, and their very special guests. We are so glad to see you this evening. It is truly my esteemed pleasure and distinct honor to welcome you to the Office of Diversity and Inclusion's Hall of Fame Awards celebration. I'm Tracy Townsend of WBNS 10 TV. It is past my bedtime. I will be there in the morning, but I'm so happy to spend part of this evening with you. This is a great night, a very special night for me to MC, as I am a proud graduate of The Ohio State University. And I am here tonight because I fully support the critical justice and equity work being done on this campus every day by ODI and others. This university should always be a place where students from every background get opportunities to achieve their dreams. While this is the fourth Hall of Fame ceremony for ODI, this is the second year that we've been able to do this in person. We certainly appreciate you joining us this evening in toasting the accomplishments of our honorees tonight. As we come together to celebrate really a quartet of special icons of diversity and inclusion, we note that they are taking their rightful place alongside past Hall of Fame honorees. And what a club they join on this evening as they step into the company of luminaries, including the OSU 34, Dr. Frank Hale Jr., Dean Minnie McGee, Jesse Owens, Rhonda Rivera, and Judge Robert Duncan, just to name a few. All of our honorees have ties to Ohio State that run deep. Two of our honorees graduated from Ohio State, Dr. Carol Anderson and Dr. Wando Olayiwola, while honoree Dr. Rudine Sims Bishop taught here for many years, and Judge Algernon Marbley served on the university's Board of Trustees and taught as an adjunct law professor. They are all Buckeyes, but they are also people who fought to bring greater truth, equity, and justice to the world in their very own way. Honoree Dr. Carol Anderson is a truth teller and a powerful historian who digs into the past to uncover narratives of unflinching honesty and candor. And I heard her practicing her remarks, and I am ready. I am ready. Dr. Wando Olayiwola is a family physician who has pushed the bounds of technology to bring better care to her patients and who now heads healthcare equity efforts for Humana. Dr. Rudine Sims Bishop is an iconic educator and mentor, beloved enough to be known far and wide in children's literature circles as the pioneering scholar of multicultural children's books. And Judge Algernon Marbley is a federal judge known for his fairness and integrity in the courtroom and a legacy of protecting civil rights in his rulings. So you can see tonight is a night to give these folks their flowers and to reflect on the important and varied contributions they have made, which we build on today, tomorrow, and forever as we seek a more just and empathetic society. To honor our new Hall of Famers, we are going to hear from a dynamic spoken word artist, as well as the nominees themselves, or the person that they have designated. First, though, I'd like to introduce two women who are part of a dynamic group of university leadership focused on bringing greater justice and equity to this institution. Our next speaker is Yolanda Zepeda, the Interim Vice Provost for Diversity and Inclusion. And after we hear from Yolanda, she's going to turn things over to Dr. Wendy Smoot, the Senior Vice Provost for Inclusive Excellence at our beloved institution. And with that, I ask Yolanda to come forward.
Thank you for that warm introduction, Tracy. What a special night this is for all of us in the ODI family. For more than a half century, our office has been on the front lines, working shoulder to shoulder with unwavering allies to eliminate barriers, to shatter stereotypes, allowing Buckeyes from every zip code and walk of life to flourish. We gather tonight to honor 4 of the greats in the diversity, equity, and inclusion space who have been part of this movement for greater justice and who help to pave the way for the work that we do every day. These are giants on whose shoulders we have stood to elevate our work. Our four honorees tonight, Judge Algernon Marbley, Dr. Rudine Sims Bishop, Dr. Carol Anderson, and Dr. Wando Olayiwola, each towering figures in their own right. And they all have more in common than just being part of our 2024 Hall of Fame class. All of our honorees have worked with major institutions to create lasting change. For Dr. Sims Bishop, that institution was academia as she broke ground in an entirely new field of scholarship studying multicultural children's literature. For Dr. Olayiwola, it is within medicine that she sought change for the better as she pushed for innovations with an eye always on how it would impact the underserved. For Judge Marbley, the judiciary has been his focus, seeking above all else fairness and justice for all who came before him. And for Dr. Anderson, it is within the academy and as a public scholar that she is rewriting narratives to make better sense of our past and how that past shapes policy and politics today. All four of these individuals realized in their own way that only by challenging institutions to change could they move the needle and make a difference in the issues that they care about. Because the world is far from perfect and the work we do can be exhausting and seemingly endless, we sometimes forget how far we have come as a society. But not tonight. This is our moment for remembering, for recalling the battles fought that made a difference in the lives of so many. We remember tonight because these individuals and their stories are part of our story, a story that we carry with us every day as we walk into the halls of Hale. We remember tonight, so we will remember always how we got from where we were to where we are now. We remember tonight because our path forward is being lit by these folks and by other Lodestars like them. I'm glad that you are all here tonight to remember and to celebrate with us on this very special evening. I thank you for being here. And I'd like to invite a key member of the university's DEI team and our fearless leader, Dr. Wendy Smoot.
Thank you so much, Yolanda, for that beautiful introduction. It is such an honor to be here today to celebrate these Buckeyes who have upheld our values of inclusion and equity throughout their remarkable careers. Such amazing stories of commitment, persistence, and service to all. Already, I have to tell you, this has been a tremendous week for the Office of Diversity and Inclusion and the university overall. On Tuesday, we began the university's celebration of Mr. Larry Williamson, Jr., who directed the Frank W. Hale, Jr. Black Cultural Center for 30 years. This year, he is being honored as the recipient of the university's highest honor for service, the Distinguished University Service Award, which will be the university will officially bestow the honor on Mr. Williamson during our May 6th commencement celebration. At ODI, we celebrated early. So this week I had an opportunity to share with our community just passages from the esteemed group of leaders who wrote letters in support of his nomination. All wrote of his commitment to serve, to put people at the core of all he did, and to open doors for those who were yet to come. We heard directly from alum, like Mr. Keith Key, who's doing time on campus all week long, from the class of 1989, who's with us this evening. He shared how deeply he valued Mr. Williamson's teachings on the theories and histories of social movements, while he himself was crafting his own path as a student engaged in social change. You see, Mr. Williamson's own service evolved from the mentorship and the tutelage of Dr. Frank W. Hale, Jr., who taught so many of us, many of you directly and those of us indirectly, the importance of leaving a legacy and a blueprint for others to follow who seek a more equitable and just world. I was so moved by the stories we heard that night because, like tonight, they remind us of the importance of people who are willing to work towards social change, to build a better world, and create opportunities for others. Tonight's honorees have shown their commitments to expanding access for those who may not have ever been extended opportunities had they not crossed their paths. We are honoring those who have created spaces of inclusion with positive self-images and representation. We know the power of representation. We are honoring those who have nurtured future leaders and are building a future that is far more equitable and far more inclusive. This is the work of The Ohio State University. In our daily work across the university, we too are invested in equipping our students with the critical thinking and problem-solving skills they need to advance a brighter future for us all. Since our founding more than 150 years ago, we have been charged with educating the masses of Ohioans to foster greater problem solvers, innovators, and creators. But we well know that an important part of us doing this work is providing students the skills and knowledge to work productively across difference. We are highly attuned to equipping our graduates for the workplace, and that means preparing them to engage across differences of language, culture, race, religion, and ideology in order to work productively in teams. Every day, we work to prepare students by creating opportunities to learn from one another and hold robust curiosities, especially for ideas that differ from their own. That is the daily work. And tonight, we have an opportunity to celebrate and to thank a set of trailblazing thinkers and doers who are examples of how to move with curiosity and do so courageously. It is through your examples that we are further encouraged to do the good work of opening spaces, providing access, and building the conditions such that all are able to thrive and reach their greatest potential as Buckeyes. Congratulations to our honorees. You have lived exemplary lives, and what a credit you are to The Ohio State University. We are so grateful to learn from the examples that you have set, and tonight we have that chance to celebrate, to honor, and to joyously bring you home today. Thank you so much, and I turn it back over to our amazing MC, Tracy.
Dr. Smooth is my favorite. Okay, wait, no. I mean, yes. Okay, good. I've got my fan club. We got your fan club here. We really appreciate your very uplifting words. And now there's more. As our Hall of Fame program continues, we are going to hear from a local spoken word artist, Javier Sanchez, who has written a piece spotlighting the passion and compassion of our honorees. Javier is going to perform, and then we're going to hear remarks from Dr. Christina Dorr, an author, librarian, and educator who studied under Dr. Rudine Sims Bishop, as well as from Dr. Wando Olayewole. Javier, you're up.
America, America, God shed his grace on who? Me? Us? All of us? Because sometimes, a lot of the times, it feels like some of us feel like some of us, a lot of us, shouldn't have any of that grace come to us. Like some of us are in boardrooms or on Zoom calls talking about what can we do to keep some of us, a lot of us, under us. Oh, I know. Let's make sure DEI is DOA. We'll give them a few years to get it out of their system while we keep racism, sexism, ageism, and ableism deeply woven into the fabric of our system. Then we'll remind them that God graced all of us, actually to about 1% of us, with the same bootstraps, and as long as you give them a good tug, you'll be okay. Just try and see things our way. I mean, look at our history, sorry. We promise you can trust us to take a stand for just us. Justice, goodness. Inequity and equity and inclusion. Goodness, say what you really mean, right? Like I said, you can trust us. We promise you there are plenty of opportunities, resources, and wealth to go around. Just work hard. Do your best. And in due time, we promise you're going to see those opportunities, resources, and wealth trickle down. Audre Lorde once wrote that to refuse to participate in the shaping of our future is to give up. Tonight, we honor 4 of those who chose to participate in the shaping of our past, present, and future and still refuse to give up. They choose to live up, above, and beyond society's low or no expectations. They refuse to be kept waiting, but instead ways they've been making, waymakers. Those who don't settle for wanting, wishing, or waiting, but make a way for themselves. But they don't stop there. That wouldn't be enough. They make a way for someone else, and then someone else makes another way for someone else. Diversity, equity, and inclusion in action, and that's how we all access opportunities, resources, and wealth. So let's honor and celebrate our waymakers. Dr. Rudine Sims Bishop has more than earned the title of scholar, mentor, and pioneer by making sure when children of color open books, it's their faces they see and their stories they hear. You don't get called the mother of multicultural literature for nothing. And when you're given a Lifetime Achievement Award in Virginia Hamilton and Coretta Scott King's name, you know you've done something. And Dr. Nwando Olayewole is a double graduate from OSU, and then she came to the conclusion that for many, diversity, equity, and inclusion when it comes to healthcare is an illusion. So the fusion of her medical degree and her passion for inspired health solutions advocacy drove her to become a disruptor of social and health disparity. Just check her extensive and glowing track record if you need more clarity. And if you ask me, and I know you didn't, but anyone who says they are self-made is either lying, forgetful, or inconsiderate. So when you consider how far Judge Algernon L. Marbley has come from where he began, you begin to understand that honorable isn't just his title, it's his character, because he is quick to honor the shoulders on which he stands, those helping hands, that caring village that taught him he must never relent. So he used growing up in segregated communities and going to segregated schools as fuel to drive him all the way to the bench, where he became the first chief district judge of African American descent. And ever since, he's been a champion and a crusader on a mission to bring diversity, equity, and inclusion into the justice system. Whew. And well is what we wish him. And what do they say? In order to get where you want to go, you have to know where you've been and where you're at. So it helps when you have a distinguished historian, truth teller, that's important, and thought leader drawing the map, drawing on actual facts, true history, not alternative facts written by those who claim victory. Dr. Carol E. Anderson said, "My story will not remain a mystery or a misstory. We're all better off when we know your story, our story, their story, her story, and not just his story." This story is far from finished. She continues the fight to make higher education more diverse, equitable, and inclusive, and we're effusive in our praise for the trails you blaze that ensure DEI in academia does not remain elusive. When you sift through all the work that's been done, all the degrees that have been earned, and all the awards that have been won, you'll find that trophies, plaques, celebrations, and certificates aren't what motivate our honorees to do what's being done. They're compelled by a sense of purpose, a higher calling beyond self-service, and understanding that service to self in the grand scheme of things seems worthless. And despite 400 plus years of sameness, inequity, and exclusion, we can reverse it through service to those most marginalized and disenfranchised. We honor you and we thank you for helping us realize they are more than worth it. So tonight, take your bow, receive your flowers, because each one of you have earned it and you deserve it.
Few thinkers will match the enduring legacy of Dr. Rudine Sims Bishop, known as the mother of multicultural children's literature. Dr. Bishop broke new ground in her field, greatly expanding a subject area overlooked by other academics. University of South Carolina professor Dr. Diane Johnson Feelings called Rudine Bishop's work essential. It was important because it established Black children's literature as a legitimate field of study, she said. An early reader, Bishop grew up in Pennsylvania coal country in the town of Pottsville, the daughter of a janitor and a domestic worker. After graduating from the town's desegregated school system, she earned her degree from Westchester State Teachers College. Her first job was as a third-grade teacher just outside Philadelphia. While Dr. Bishop would have an iconic academic career, her friends say her heart never left the children she taught. She always talked about being in the classroom with those kids as being her first love, said Dr. Cynthia Tyson, a former student, friend, and colleague. Early on, she recognized the importance of children having role models and mentors. She believed that reading diverse children's books could help them feel seen and valued. Leaving the classroom to advance her education, Dr. Bishop landed at the University of Pennsylvania to study multicultural children's literature. After obtaining her master's degree, Dr. Bishop headed to Wayne State to pursue her doctorate, working on miscue analysis, a diagnostic tool that found that children read culturally relevant books more proficiently. In 1982, her book, Shadow and Substance, established a framework for analyzing children's literature about people of color, a standard to this day. But her biggest splash was in 1990 when she published an article called Mirrors, Windows, and Sliding Glass Doors while teaching at The Ohio State University. The article stated that children need to see themselves reflected in what they read. Books are sometimes windows, offering views of worlds that may be real or imagined, familiar or strange. These windows are also sliding glass doors, and readers have only to walk through an imagination to become part of whatever world has been created or recreated by the author, Bishop wrote. A window can also be a mirror. Literature transforms human experience and reflects it back to us, and in that reflection, we can see our own lives and experiences as part of the larger human experience. Jim Bishop, Rudine's husband of 37 years, said of his wife's metaphor, "It's great that people are picking it up and continuing it. It speaks a lot about what Rudine thought about literature, especially for children, how it really opens up so much for them. Recruited to Ohio State by children's literature professor Charlotte Huck, Dr. Bishop and her colleagues cemented Ohio State as one of the preeminent places to study children's literature, establishing an annual children's literature conference that brought together writers, illustrators, teachers, and academics. Ohio State in those years was an amazing context for anyone who wanted to study and be involved in children's literature, said Tyson, who studied under Bishop. Ohio State was the place to be. During a recent interview in her home, Dr. Bishop said she takes great pride in my association with multicultural children's literature and that her favorite part of her job as a professor at Ohio State was working with the students. Dr. Jonda McNair, who studied under Bishop, said that her mentor's career was a window for her. If it wasn't for her, I don't know that African American children's literature would have been the focus of my scholarship, McNair said. In some ways, she was a mirror. I saw her, and I thought, I can do this. I can make a career of this.
Dr. Bishop, I just want to say congratulations to you for being recognized by Ohio State University's Office of Diversity and Inclusion. Thank you for your metaphor that books should be mirrors, windows, and sliding glass doors for all children. This metaphor has been widely recognized and acted upon by publishers, teachers, librarians, and many others in ways that have benefited so many children. As a former student of yours, I have to say that this metaphor has special significance for me because I never saw myself as somebody who could be a professor of children's literature. So you were a mirror for me. And for that, I thank you. And I say congratulations again and that you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
Dr. Rudine Bishop, it is my great honor as Dean of the College of Education and Human Ecology to congratulate you on this great achievement. Your powerful work and lifetime contribution as the matriarch of multicultural literature has pushed the world to think more broadly about diverse representation and ensured that children of color are able to see their experiences reflected and learn authentically about their culture in the books they read. Thank you for your tireless dedication to creating a world that values and celebrates our individual and collective stories. Your legacy has transformed the experiences of countless educators. It has paved the way for all children to engage in different world. Your wisdom and scholarship will continue to resonate and inspire others for years to come.
Congratulations, Dr. Bishop, on this recognition from Ohio State for your groundbreaking work as a scholar, author, and advocate for multicultural books for children. For more than 40 years, you've been a catalyst for change, helping to usher in books for all young readers, books that are beautiful, authentic, and affirming, books that, to use your phrase, are mirrors, windows, and sliding glass doors. As executive director of the Eric Carle Museum of Picture Book Art, it was my great privilege in 2018 to present you a Carle Honors Mentor Award. And what a mentor you are. For Ohio State students, for your colleagues in the field, for teachers and librarians, and, close to my heart, for children's book publishers and for generations of Black and Brown authors and illustrators. You started a movement, and they've answered your call to create books that speak to the richness and breadth of human experience, books that shine a light on each and every child. And for that, we are all so grateful.
Please welcome to the stage Dr. Christina Dorr, accepting on behalf of Dr. Rudine Sims Bishop, who's joining us this evening as well. Please join us in congratulating Dr. Rudine Sims Bishop.
Good evening. First, I must mention that I'm not Dr. Cynthia Tyson, nor am I Dr. John McNair. You might have been expecting one of those accomplished Ohio State professors to say a few words tonight. To their regret, neither were available. However, I am Dr. Christina Dorr, pronouns she, her, a graduate of this fine institution, an author, consultant, seminar presenter, and an instructor at Kent State University. We're here this evening on the native land of the Maiamia, Kakaskia, Shawnee, and Hopewell cultures to celebrate the induction of 4 outstanding individuals into the Hall of Fame. Thank you to the directors of the Office of Diversity and Inclusion for allowing me this privilege this evening. To accept this esteemed honor on behalf of one of my greatest heroes, Dr. Rudine Sims Bishop is a woman of intellect and compassion who changed the conversation about representation in children's and teen books through her voice and her writing at a time when it was decidedly not popular to do so. And she did this through, among other devices, the use of metaphors, particularly the likening of books for young people as mirrors, windows, and sliding glass doors. Through her tireless research and work as a professor of education here, Dr. Bishop advocated for the importance of representation and diversity in children's books. And through her groundbreaking research in the field of American children's literature, as we've heard, has become known as the mother of multicultural literature. I must do a little bit longer quote than you've heard already tonight. From her writing, books are sometimes windows, offering views of worlds that may be real or imagined, familiar or strange. These windows are also sliding glass doors, and readers have only to walk through in their imagination to become part of whatever world has been created or recreated by the author. But when the lighting conditions are just right, however, a window can also be a mirror. Literature transforms human experience and reflects it back to us. And in that reflection, we can see our own lives and experiences as part of a larger human experience. Reading then becomes a means of self-affirmation, and readers often seek their mirrors in books. And now I need to share with you another reason Dr. Bishop is one of my greatest heroes, and a hero internationally to those who were her students either by person or by the extension of her work. You see, the first evening I, as a grad student, walked into room 212 of Ramsayer Hall at The Ohio State University a good many years ago. I took a seat near the front so I could see and hear everything Dr. Bishop shared. At that point, my life as a teacher, librarian, writer, and speaker was changed forever. You see, to borrow a phrase from a very influential, multiple award-winning book for young adults titled The Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulley, some boats are made for the river, and some boats are made for the ocean. Dr. Bishop is decidedly one of the boats made for the ocean. So, what is the one overriding piece of wisdom that we collectively have gained from Dr. Bishop? That every child or young adult who walks through the doors of our spaces, our libraries, our classrooms, our offices, need to be respected and validated, not only by us, but in the books we offer. And that we need to encourage all young people to tell their own stories. If we don't, we have erased them. Thank you once again to the directors of the Office of Diversity and Inclusion on behalf of my hero, Dr. Rudine Sims Bishop.
Born to immigrant parents who fled war-torn Nigeria, Jacqueline Wando Olayiwola used her Buckeye education to become a world-renowned family physician, award-winning innovator, and health equity leader focused on providing better care to underserved patient populations. After her parents fled a bloody civil war in their homeland in the late 1960s, Olayiwola grew up in a home where education had played a pivotal role in safely harboring the family. They always felt like it was so important for us to use education as a tool for your future, for your freedom, for your growth, and for your success, said Olayiwola of her parents. The second of 4 children, Olayiwola and her siblings made frequent visits to the Ohio State University's campus, where their father was a professor and their mother worked as a computer engineer. But Olayiwola's first taste of medicine came far from Ohio, when she visited Nigeria, along with her older brother to stay with their maternal aunt, who was a village doctor. It was a narrow view of medicine and what it could be, but we both decided pretty young that we wanted to be doctors, Olayiwola recalled. Her budding interest in medicine was solidified during 2 summers in high school when she did medical research under a program run by the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, then the Office of Minority Affairs. Working with a pediatric oncologist, Olayiwola worked on treatments for kids with bone and muscle cancers. It was like confirming and validating that this is what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go, she said. Landing at Ohio State in 1994, on a forerunner to today's Moral Scholarship Program, Olayiwola and her older brother, also a Buckeye, started a student organization for pre-health science minority students. As they built the organization for students of color, a new community was created. It became a kindred set of spirits at Ohio State, she said. In 1996, Olayiwola's community building around campus paid off as she was elected homecoming queen, one of the first Black women to hold the crown. After completing her undergraduate and medical degrees at Ohio State, Olayiwola headed off to New York City to begin her first intern residency at Columbia. One of the first days, Olayiwola found herself an outsider as her fellow interns from more exclusive schools turned up their noses at the lone state school graduate. But as they started on their morning rounds over the first several weeks, Olayiwola had a profound realization. I went from being kind of a joke in the first week with the interns to being the one that everyone asked for help when they were reading EKG tests or pulmonary function tests, said the 47-year-old who was named to the 100 Buckeyes You Should Know list in 2012. I realized within a few weeks that I had probably the best education and probably spent less on it than anyone else. Early in her career, as Olayiwola gained experience as a family physician, she was also thinking about how to improve health systems to make them more efficient and productive through technology. At her first practice in Connecticut, for example, Olayiwola set up a groundbreaking telemedicine program to bring eye exams to patients with diabetes who were being denied care by optometrists. It was the first real big example that I had of how you can use technology to level the playing ground, said the winner of the 2019 Harvard Public Health Innovator Award. While Olayiwola has long championed finding new ways to employ technology, she has always done so with a dedication to serving the least among us. Being able to pour into places and communities where people didn't have the same level of opportunity has been really, really important to me, she said. If you can solve problems for the people who have it the worst, you can solve anything. It's that deep and abiding interest in healthcare equity that drew Olayiwola away from her job leading the Department of Family Medicine at Ohio State to a new role as Senior Vice President and Chief Health Equity Officer of Humana, a healthcare system with more than 17 million members. While healthcare equity has always been a passion for Olayiwola, it became her primary focus in January 2021. We look at who is not doing as well as others and what kind of programs and interventions we can try to address some of these things that are structural problems, she said. As Olayiwola reflects on her career, the roots of her success can be found on the oval she walked as a child. I owe so much of who I am to the foundations, the opportunities, the exposure, and the experiences I had at Ohio State, she said. I can't imagine a better foundation for the rest of my life than what I got at Ohio State.
Wando, congratulations. What an awesome, awesome accomplishment. As your younger brother, I'm amazed at watching you continue to set the example for us and also make the bar so high. You know, one of the things that makes me really excited about this opportunity for you is for you to get your flowers now. A lot of times you can go out through life for a long period of time and you don't really know how people feel about you. You don't know what accomplishments you've made or what impact you've made. This is very clear. Welcome to the Hall of Fame.
Congratulations, Wando. I am so proud of you. You know I'm always your #1 cheerleader, and I think if anyone deserves this award, it is you. You have made a great impact in many people's lives, myself included, and the entire community that you have grown up in, especially minority students and especially people from underprivileged background. I have had the opportunity of knowing Wando since our freshman year at Ohio State in 1994, and you may not have known Wando. I am a doctor today because of you. I'm very proud of you, Wando, and I wish you all the best of luck as you continue to work hard to ensure that minority students are thriving in STEM-based careers and patients from disadvantaged backgrounds have access to equal health care in their communities. Congratulations, Wando. I love you, and I'm very honored to know you as my sister, really. We started as friends, and then we became best friends, and now you are my sister. I'm so proud of you. All the best. Go Bucks.
Dr. Wando Olayiwola, I am delighted to congratulate you on your induction into The Ohio State University Office of Diversity and Inclusion Hall of Fame. This recognition honors the exceptional legacy you have established as a health equity trailblazer and champion for inclusive excellence in medicine. From the early days of your career as a two-time graduate of The Ohio State University to your current position as one of our nation's foremost physician leaders, your journey has been truly remarkable. I am so inspired by your tireless advocacy for underserved populations and by your commitment to advancing equal access to care in communities around the globe. Your legacy will continue to inspire and uplift healthcare professionals for generations to come. Congratulations on this well-deserved honor.
Please welcome to the stage Dr. Wando Olayiwola.
So first of all, if you know me, you know that it's very difficult to surprise me. I will find out whatever you're trying to do to surprise me. I had no idea. I'd never seen the video. I'd never seen what they put together. I am completely blown away. I feel like I need a little moment because I didn't expect to see what I saw, but thank you. Thank you. So it is such an honor to be here. I want to share, you heard a little bit about my growing up. In my household, we listened to music of all genres all the time. And so me and my siblings can sing songs from any different kind of genre that you can imagine. But Gladys Knight was one of the people that we played in our house a lot. And my parents used to listen to her when we were growing up. And she famously said something that struck me, that sometimes the best things are right in front of you. It just takes time to see them. So when I think about my journey to this moment and the foundations created here at The Ohio State University, and specifically this office, the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, no words can really ring more true to me. As you know, you heard, I was literally born and raised at Ohio State. And not like how people say I was born and raised there. I was literally born at University Hospitals. And I grew up the child of OSU parents. You heard my father, Dr. Oke Onyejekwa, who was a professor in the Department of Black Studies, as it was called then. His office was in University Hall. My mother, who's here tonight, Dr. Egondo Onyejekwa, a systems engineer for the University Technological Services. Her office was initially on West Campus on Kinnear Road, and then eventually got moved to Neal Avenue. So my siblings and me, Oke Jr., my older brother, who's not here tonight, Sylvia, also known as Ify, and Emeka Don, who you saw in the video, I didn't know he did. And our bonus brother, our uncle, Emmanuel Aziriam E-Dog, is also here. We were always on campus. We hung out on the Oval where our dad was grading papers. We ran around our mom's building, marveling at the computers and Xerox machines, which my kids might not even know what they are anymore. We were inventing games, plotting our future. We were always here. Fast forward a few years, started my senior year of high school, thinking about where I was going to go off to college. I was at Bishop Watterson High School here. I vouched that I was not going to go to OSU. I was always here. Uncle Emma graduated from the OSU College of Pharmacy on a soccer scholarship. My older brother, Oke Jr., was a freshman at Ohio State. He was a recipient of the then Office of Minority Affairs scholarship. So everyone expected me to go to Ohio State. And if you know me, the last thing I wanted to do was what everyone expected of me. So I wanted to wow them, and I wanted to show them I'm going to go to a top-tier school, one where I would get an impeccable education, I would become a leader, I would be fantastically well prepared for medical school. I wanted to go to a university that ranked with some cachet when I said it. And you see that thing right in front of me. Ohio State University was so good that I could not see it. I previously, you heard, I participated in programs that the Office of Minority Affairs had, the Research Apprenticeship Program for high school minority students that were interested in the health professions. And the experience was actually life-changing. I met incredible physicians, researchers, professionals who were educated at The Ohio State University, doing groundbreaking and life-saving work, impeccably educated, leaders, doctors, but it was right in front of me. So I was gearing up my mind to go anywhere but the place right in front of me. Believe it or not, I hate to say it in this room, I was very close to going to the school up north. That would not say, or Notre Dame or USC, that was the plan. But then this place right in front of me offered me a scholarship that would finance my education through this office, the predecessor of this office, the Office of Minority Affairs, now the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. Fortunately, I chose wisely, I accepted this scholarship, and it changed the course of my life. Coming to Ohio State under the covering of a program like this, without worrying about finances or resources, gave me the liberty to learn and the boldness to lead.
I started student organizations. I was an advocate for students of color, those that had been disadvantaged. I was an advocate for students pursuing the health professions, as you heard. I received tutoring from the Office of Minority Affairs, and then years later, I became a tutor for the program. I was a chemistry lab teacher. I worked in the office of OSU President Gordon Gee, joined clubs, got into honoraries, won awards. I became one of the first Black homecoming queens at OSU, as you heard. And I found my path here, and I helped a lot of others do the same, as you heard from my dear best friend, Dr. Mame Dankwa Kwanzaa. I got an impeccable education for both of my OSU degrees. I became the leader that I always planned, as you've seen as my career has taken place. So this is truly a full circle moment for me, and I thank God for this blessing and this recognition. And there are so many people in the community that helped to raise me. Many of them are here tonight, and I thank God for all of them. I think about this journey from the Oval, where I used to play as a child, with the best thing right in front of me. So although it took me time to see it, I'm glad that I finally saw this great thing. Being inducted into the ODI Hall of Fame at The Ohio State University is truly one of the biggest honors I could ever have imagined. A place that I love, an office that I cherish, a place that has poured into me, a place that I give back to. So standing here tonight, and among the other incredible honorees who I'm so humbled, I was sitting there actually as they were talking about them, and I was saying to my brother behind me, I was like, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why I'm here. I have imposter syndrome bad right now. But I do want to just take a moment and thank all the people that have been on this journey with me. My parents, who you've heard about. You guys don't even understand. I know everybody loves their parents, but mine, putting that thing right in front of me, I thank God for them. My siblings, you saw many pictures of us, for traveling all these roads with me, starting on the campus. My relatives and friends, so many of them who are here tonight. My friends, my mentors, my mentees, my colleagues, many of whom are also here. And most of all, I want to thank my incredible husband, Paul Olaiwola, because if you want to be a woman, wife, mother, leader, you cannot do it if you don't have a good person beside you. And I thank God for the space and the latitude that he's given me to grow. And he has always said, a lot of moves that we've made that have been related to my career, he said, I'm never going to stand in your way. I'm always going to be with you. So I just thank God for him. And then finally, my two wonderful, beautiful children, if I could just have them stand up for a minute, Darius and Nisi Olaiwola. Because it's because of them I can now see clearly. You know, your children give you a way to see that you never really realized, and a passion that you didn't really know you had, and a purpose that is really driving. They teach me so much. I thought I knew technology. You know, you heard that all in my video, but now that my kids, I don't know anything. They teach me as much as I think I teach them. So I just say to you all, as you are going on your journeys, whatever those might be, remember the words of Gladys Knight, as I said, sometimes the best things are right in front of you. It just takes time to see them. Whatever you might be dreaming of, it might already be literally staring you right in the face. So congrats to my fellow inductees, congrats to all the people that went before me. God bless each and every one of you who is part of someone's story just like mine. And I want to thank this office for this impeccable recognition of my leadership and accomplishments. I pray that the foundation that this office is standing on and the vision that they have shall never be shaken. Go Bucks. OH! Thank you. Can you put the mic back on? I'm so sorry. Gosh, thank God. That's why that's why you need family members. I just want to share something which is when you talk about full circle, this is really full circle. In the fall, my son, Darius Olaiwola, will be coming to The Ohio State University as a recipient of the Morrill Scholarship. And we have not shared that publicly yet, but you heard it here first. So thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
We thank you so much for your inspirational words, Dr. Olayiwola. A wonderful legacy all of our honorees are leaving for future generations. So let's give them a round of applause, our first two. Next, we are going to hear from Judge Algernon Marbley, as well as our final honoree, Dr. Carol Anderson. But first, let's learn a bit about them.
Growing up in the Deep South, still ruled by Jim Crow apartheid, federal judge Algernon Marbley was drawn to the legal profession, seeking greater justice than what he witnessed each day. "It probably has more to do with me becoming a lawyer than anything else," said Marbley, a small-town North Carolina native who became a U.S. District Court judge in 1997. "I knew there was something fatally flawed about a system which prevented me from going into stores or from attending certain schools, simply because of the color of my skin," he said. "I thought the law would be the change agent." As a child, Marbley remembers frequent indignities, like only being allowed to sit in the balcony at movie theaters, and his family using the rear entrance to get takeout food at restaurants that refused to serve blacks. But he also remembers a boy his age drowning in the pond where black kids swam after officials drained rather than desegregate the town's pool. "I remember thinking about, I wonder if he had been allowed to swim in the public pool, if he would have drowned," Marbley said. The son of teachers, Marbley recalls growing up in a close-knit black community where adults looked out for the young generation, and teachers in his segregated school pushed him to excel. "The teachers took great pride in educating us because they knew the challenges that we would face. They coached you hard," Marbley said. An exceptional student, named one of the top students in his incoming class at the University of North Carolina, Marbley became a leader of the Black student movement. When Klansman David Duke, later a losing candidate for Louisiana governor and U.S. Senate, was brought to campus to speak in January 1975, more than 200 students, including Marbley, shouted, sang, and heckled Duke off the stage. Following the controversial showdown, Marbley was summoned to the undergraduate court for leading the protest but was acquitted of wrongdoing. Years later, "I've struggled with whether we did the right thing because of the speech issues implicated," Marbley said. "I haven't convinced myself that I was right, nor have I convinced myself that I was wrong." Appointed to the federal bench by President Bill Clinton, Marbley has established a reputation for decisions defending critical civil rights during his 27 years in a black robe. Diane Citrino, a civil rights attorney in a 2013 Federal Bar Association story on Marbley, wrote, "The judge has been at the heart of important civil rights issues, such as voting rights and housing discrimination during his 15 years on the federal bench." One such civil rights case was Kennedy v. City of Zanesville, where dozens of black plaintiffs asserted that city officials had purposefully withheld access to clean water to a black neighborhood for generations. An all-white jury returned an $11 million verdict against town officials. "That was a personally satisfying result for me," said Marbley. Reed Colfax, the lead attorney for the black plaintiffs in that case, said Marbley's handling of the case restored his faith in the justice system. "He gives everyone, whether plaintiffs, defendants, or witnesses, an equal opportunity to tell their stories and stands out of the way as the jury considers the evidence and renders a verdict," he said. The 69-year-old said he modeled his judicial philosophy after his mentor, the late Judge Robert Duncan, also an ODI Hall of Famer. "I wanted to be fair to a fault, and sometimes it's difficult, but it's always necessary," he said. While Marbley loves his job, the toughest part comes when he must criminally sentence defendants. "It's not lost on me that most of the people that I sentence are poor and people of color. That's one of the reasons that I am involved as I am in my community. I want to be in balance." Known for mentoring and supporting his law clerks, Even long after they leave his courtroom, Marbley said it's his way of paying forward. You help people because there's so many people who have helped me along the way, he said.
Monty, congratulations. This is certainly a well-deserved honor, and you've certainly earned it. You have been a champion for DEI for all your life, really, and you've been a role model for all of us to make sure that we do all we can do to make sure all of Central Ohio receives justice. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your friendship, and congratulations.
Congratulations, Judge Marbley. It is such an honor to represent the Office of Government Affairs in congratulating you on your award from the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. You have been a mentor, you have been a friend, you have been just a continual influence in all that is Ohio State. On a personal note, Monty, I want to thank you for your friendship and for your confidence, for you have been a guiding light for me, as I know you've been a guiding light for the clerks who have worked with you in your office. So kudos to you, continual success. And again, I am so happy for you to receive this honor from The Ohio State University.
Monty Marbley, my good friend, congratulations on this recognition. You're so deserving. Your impact on people and all throughout the state of Ohio, but particularly Columbus and the youth and so many different people has been significant. I always think about people relative to when they move on to another place, if they ultimately are going to be missed. And you are that individual. You are that individual that people will talk about forever as you transition your life. And so I want to thank you so much for everything that you've given me personally and my wife Sheila, but also thank you for the impact that you've given to so many other people. Love you, brother. So happy for you. You're so deserving of this award, and I look forward to toasting you at the appropriate time. Thank you so much. And by the way, go Bucks.
Please welcome to the stage Judge Algernon Marbley.
You know, that's kind of hard to follow. It's almost as hard to follow as you are. You think that you had a question as to why you were here. I certainly have a question when I look at all of the honorees. But I want to thank, first of all, the Office of Diversity and Inclusion for this august award. It's an honor of a lifetime, and I really mean that. And as did you, I want to thank my parents and my grandmother. See, it took a village, because as you saw from some of those pictures, I wasn't always destined for the federal court. I was probably destined to do other things. But I had a really strong village and a strong family. So my grandmother and father inculcated me with the value of compassion, which is the cornerstone of justice. And it has become my guiding principle. But my mother, who's 91 and she's here now, stand up, Mom. Stand up. So she's always been the more popular one. But she gave me strength and fight, and she imbued me with the tenacity to apply that principle in my life's work, which is why I'm so fortunate to be on this stage with these honorees who have done far more than I could ever do, but I appreciate being in such company. I want to thank my family, my wife Angela, my son Algernon, my other son Aaron, who couldn't be here tonight. and the rest of my extended family, just to prove to everyone that Nashville, North Carolina does in fact exist. I had my cousin come up. She was in the school system. She was the assistant superintendent of schools for Nash County, and she always comes whenever I called. And so I called and told her, "You won't believe this." And so, you know, she came to make sure that that was not another one of my tall tales. But my family sacrificed so much because of the time. Certainly my sons did, and they continue to do so to enable me to do the type of work worthy of this recognition. Finally, I want to thank a coterie of friends who are, many of whom are here tonight, and these friends they are part of my extended village. They mentored me, they positioned me to do the type of work that I do, and they never let me forget to do justice, but more importantly, not forget for whence I cometh. And you know, you would always make a mistake once you start going down that road, but it's one word that is responsible for me to be here tonight, and the word is camaraderie. And you might wonder why camaraderie is responsible for me being here tonight. Well, a friend of mine, who was a lawyer here in Columbus, told me, he said, you know, you should think about coming to my firm. I practiced for a couple of years in Chicago. And I said, oh, okay. So I wrote a cover letter, and I was explaining to this firm why, you know, I would be a good fit. And I misspelled the word camaraderie. But my buddy, who's here tonight, who started all of this, a guy named Ivory Foreman, Ivory was here, Ivory's here. Ivory corrected the word camaraderie, and because he corrected that word, I got an interview, because they certainly weren't going to interview somebody who couldn't spell. So Ivory brought me here, and the rest is history. You know, and even though I'm a lawyer and a judge, I understand that brevity is the soul of both wit and persuasion. And so, in a few words, I want to adjure those present to appreciate the importance of the work that this office does, and more importantly, the necessity of continuing this important work until it's completed. We are facing the headwind of revisionist historians who extol the benefits of slavery, who deny the continuing existence of systemic racism, and who seek to undermine America's historic mission to be the world's first and most enduring multiracial democracy. My work has been in the judiciary, and I am honored to serve my community in that capacity. I have been for the past 27 years, and I hope to continue to be able to serve in that capacity. I've been fortunate to be in the position of a federal judge because in that position I can follow the prophet Micah's edict to do justice and to love mercy. Serving in the judiciary, that branch which, as the philosopher Montesquieu described it, has neither pen nor purse, only judgment, is more important now than ever. We are at an inflection point, ladies and gentlemen, where we see nefarious efforts to use civil rights precedent to claim that the Constitution requires colorblindness, and that efforts targeted at ameliorating the suffering of descendants of slaves illegally discriminate against white people. Those who embrace this very distorted view of history have co-opted both the rhetoric of colorblindness and the legal legacy of Black activism. And they do it not to advance racial progress, but to stall it, or worse, to reverse it. With this multicultural democracy under siege, and we see it every day from efforts to undermine voting rights to book burning or, taking books off of shelves in libraries, that's book burning, to eliminating DE&I programs throughout this country. I hope that we aren't the last class. We have to commit to not being the last class. Democracy is under siege. So I believe in all that is sacred to me, that the judicial branch is our last line of defense. With the pen as my weapon and the living Constitution as my guide, I will continue to discharge my constitutional obligations to ensure that all of our citizens, irrespective of race, of gender, of religion, or sexual orientation, will enjoy the privileges to which all who live in a multiracial constitutional democracy are entitled. We must not stand idly by, and as the historian Nicole Hannah-Jones put it, permit the dismantling of the constitutional tools for undoing racial caste in the United States. I'm inspired by this honor, ladies and gentlemen, and I appreciate the Office of Diversity and Inclusion bestowing it upon me and the work of my co-honorees. And we must continue our work. I ask that you join us. Thank you very much.
Powerful historian with an accessible style, Dr. Carol Anderson has parlayed a delayed entry into academia into a celebrated career as a researcher focused on public policy, intersecting with race, justice, and equality. For Anderson, the thread that connects the 5 books she has written, including the 2016 New York Times bestseller White Rage, is the power that public policy wields on the lives of everyday citizens. I write about the way policy shapes people's lives in terms of how they can maneuver through the society, Anderson said. The opportunities that are laid out, the obstacles that are removed, the obstacles that are created, and how artificial so many of those things are, she said. I'm a storyteller. I believe in the power of stories because they help us remember. The 64-year-old author of White Rage, an award-winning book making the historical case that white policy backlash has always followed Black social advancement, moved to Columbus as a child with her family in the early 1960s, living a football toss across the freeway from campus. We used to hear the roar of the crowd during OSU Michigan games, so I bleed scarlet and gray, she said. A naturally inquisitive child, Anderson's childhood home in the Linden area was chock full of books, magazines, and freewheeling conversations initiated by her father, George, a former career military man. We were always talking about sports and politics, about what was happening in the community and what was happening in the world, Anderson recalled. I was just voraciously hungry for knowledge, and being in an environment where that was nurtured was so cool, so amazing. After graduating from Columbus Brookhaven High School, Anderson headed off to Miami University in Oxford, Ohio, earning her undergraduate and master's degrees before beginning her career. While working for the Ohio Board of Regents, Anderson helped develop the STARS program to diversify the professoriate among Ohio educational institutions. But her mind was always on returning to school someday to pursue her doctorate. The STARS students were on fire, and I loved the energy coming off those students, and I knew that was the kind of academic environment that I wanted, she said. In the wake of a life-changing divorce, Anderson returned to academia to pursue her PhD in diplomatic history at The Ohio State University, while working full-time, learning each day alongside a younger generation. After the judge banged the gavel, the next day I was at Ohio State, she said with a laugh. When I came to campus, I was sitting in a class in all my business regalia, right with all of these young ones who are talking in a language that I don't understand. But it was such a great environment. Everyone was so supportive. Recalling those days, Anderson gives credit to her advisor, Professor Michael Hogan, as well as the librarians in the Ohio State system for helping her dig up obscure research materials. It's amazing what a great library does for really encouraging research and discovery, she said. When Anderson became a professor, she promised herself she would write plainly to avoid the academic jargon that can keep academic research from being understood by the general public. My writing is for the community, for the people, she said. My footnotes are for the academics and the academy. Anderson's best-known work, often cited for its thoroughness and brutal honesty, came about when she wrote a Washington Post op-ed trying to explain the deeper context for the unrest that was taking place outside of Ferguson, Missouri in August 2014. White rage is the work of a historian seeing these patterns over time, she said. Where African Americans have had significant advances in their civil rights, in their citizenship rights, there's always a policy backlash that goes to systemically undermine that advancement. With pivotal elections looming in a nation sharply divided, Anderson said her study of American political history tells her that her fellow citizens will unite if they see democracy threatened. It is the power of imagining what could be that leads to the mobilizing and the organizing for real freedom and real democracy, Anderson said. It looks bleak, but I believe that Americans, when they see democracy under attack, they will fight back. That's what we do.
I'm Scott Levi, professor and chair of the OSU Department of History, and I am delighted and deeply honored to say a few words about Carol Anderson on her induction into the ODI Hall of Fame. From her journey as a PhD student in our own Dulles Hall to her recent election to the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, Carol Anderson has built a career as an outstanding and award-winning scholar and teacher and a powerful advocate for the core values of diversity and inclusion. Her 5 research monographs and tireless public engagement activities have earned her literally dozens of our profession's most prestigious awards and prizes. It would be impossible to overstate the pride that my colleagues and I feel in being able to say that Carol Anderson launched her career from our department. Congratulations, Carol, and thank you very much for everything that you do.
Greetings, Dr. Anderson. I'm David Horn, Dean of the Arts and Sciences at Ohio State, and on behalf of the faculty, students, and staff in our college, I want to congratulate you on your induction into the ODI Hall of Fame. We are proud of your pioneering and award-winning work in American history and African American studies, of your remarkable record of program building, and of your engagement with partners beyond the university. In all of this, you have been a passionate and effective advocate for building diverse and inclusive communities. Thank you for your brave, innovative, and sustained work. We are fortunate to be able to call you one of our own.
I have been impressed with Carol Anderson since I joined the history faculty at Ohio State in 1991 and was appointed to the exam committee as she wrote her blockbuster dissertation on African Americans and the struggle for human rights at home and overseas. After she completed her PhD, Carol embarked on an academic career encompassing remarkable achievements. Carol has enlightened the world, edified our national discourse, improved the lives of countless students, and brought distinction to her profession. On the occasion of Carol's induction into the Hall of Fame, I offer my sincere and heartfelt congratulations.
Please welcome to the stage Dr. Carol Anderson.
Wow, I am humbled, just humbled. And I want to thank my family and friends who are here tonight. And because I haven't been home in a while, I get to see them, and it's just been wonderful. And I'm so glad you were able to come. I also want to thank those who are far away and who could not be here, and those who are no longer here, but whose love and memory continue to envelop and encourage me. They really are my North Star. I'm especially grateful for my parents, George and Beth Anderson, who were instrumental in nurturing my love of learning, my love of democracy, and my fervor for justice. They had to endure the brutality of Jim Crow, and they quietly shared stories about the discrimination they faced in housing, in education, and in employment. Yet they also shared, through their words and the way they lived their lives, the determination and courage that it took to overcome those barriers. They created a home that valued education, integrity, faith, and knowing that your work is for something greater than yourself. Those values brought me to The Ohio State University to earn my PhD in one of the top doctoral programs in the nation. Woo! Right? Led me to work with the Coalition of Immokalee Workers to help bring dignity to the laborers in the tomato fields in Florida. The belief in what American democracy could be compelled me to combine scholarship with activism as I outlined the destruction of the Voting Rights Act and subsequent efforts to strip American citizens of their right to vote. This led to testifying before the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee and weighing in on court cases to stop the violation of the 14th and 15th Amendments. My parents' drive was also essential in my ability to discern the pattern of African Americans' determination for full citizenship, like after the Civil War, the Brown decision, the Civil Rights Movement, and the racial reckoning and subsequent election of 2020 that invariably sparked a policy backlash designed to look legitimate while undermining that advancement. We are living in another wave of that backlash right now. The book bans, the assault on DEI, the legislative contempt for critical race theory, the elevation of the so-called patriotic history, and corresponding denigration of evidence-based American and African American history. It is therefore humbling to receive this honor, especially in a time like this. Thank you, Ohio State, for not bowing down. These troubling times require all of us to stand up for democracy, for justice, for equity, for inclusion. And thank you, Mommy and Daddy, for showing the way. Thank you.
Woo! Thank you, Dr. Anderson and Judge Marbley, for your remarks. What a journey you have been on. Can we just give everybody another round of applause? This has been a great evening. This has been truly amazing. Of course, all good things must come to an end. We have reached the conclusion of the program tonight, and truly, we all know that we stand on the shoulders of giants in the work that we do and in the lives that we live as we seek to bring more prosperity, equity, justice, and freedom for the marginalized in our community. This has been a truly inspirational night as we've celebrated 4 giants in their respective fields and the battles they have fought to help make our world a better place. Before we head out, everybody knows we've got one thing we must do. And it says that I'm supposed to say I'm not a good singer, but I can't carry a tune. I think I see some of my church members here. They know. Right there in my pew, very quietly. But can you all join me as we salute our beloved Ohio State and sing Carmen, Ohio?